Maybe it's just me, but I've always felt that DuckTales 2 was one of the quintessential end of the 8-bit era games. A very late sequel to one of the most popular games of the time, and kind of difficult to find because it was produced in such low quantities. Though the Famicom version doesn't command anywhere near the absurd prices that the NES version does. On the Famicom, the original DuckTales game went by Monpaku Duck Yume Boken. But in the 3 years since that was released, DuckTales kind of caught on in Japan, and so the sequel sticks to the English title. DuckTales was one of Disney's weekday afternoon cartoons, and it was heavily inspired by the Scrooge McDuck comics of Carl Barks. The show was all about the globe-trotting adventures of crotchety gazillionaire Scrooge McDuck. The plot of the game involves one of Scrooge's nephews finding a piece of a torn-up treasure map, and now Scrooge has to scour the world for the rest of the map, plus any other treasures he can steal. When you start the game, you have your choice of 5 areas to visit: Niagara Falls, a pirate ship in the Bermuda Triangle, the lost continent of Mu, Egypt, and the strange wilderness known only as Scotland. DuckTales 2 plays similarly to the original game, but they've made a lot more of it. More things to do, more things to interact with, a lot more secrets to find. You can still freely explore the stages, wandering back and forth or up and down as needed. The biggest change is that you no longer have to press down to pogo. Scrooge's primary method of dealing with enemies is to bounce on their heads with his cane. And to do that, you first jump by hitting A, and then you hold down B and he'll stick his cane below him. You can bounce pretty high with a pogo, so it's also one of your primary methods of getting around, and you can even pogo on spikes without getting hurt. Scrooge can do other tricks with his cane. If you press up against the surface and then hit B, he'll do a golf swing. This can knock loose bricks or stones up into the air, or reveal items hidden inside of things. A new addition for DuckTales 2 is that if you prepare for a golf swing and then jump, you can do the swing in the air. That's useful for opening paths. A new ability that Scrooge has with his cane is that he can grab some items. It's similar to doing the golf swing, only instead of hitting the object, he'll latch onto it, and then you can pull that item. It's useful for moving some blocks, and in a couple of places you'll use it for solving puzzles. There are also upgrades to his abilities that you can get. If you find gyro gear loose hanging around in a stage, he'll improve how your cane performs. He can make it so that you'll smash some tougher blocks, pull heavier items, and launch heavy blocks into the air. These abilities are needed to get all of the hidden items, so fortunately you can go back into stages that you've cleared and search them again using your new abilities. The other person you'll meet on a stage is Launchpad, and he'll let you exit the level and return to the stage selection. Stages in DuckTales 2 have a lot of hidden secrets. I mean a lot of them. You'll need to bounce into walls to see what you can pass through, try going above everything, and in a lot of cases, you'll only get one shot at it because it requires uncovering a hidden treasure chest by jumping into that blank spot, and then bouncing off that treasure chest to reach new heights. Bouncing off the chest opens it, and they don't come back. The small treasure chests might just have gems, which are money, or an ice cream cone, which will restore a bit of your health. The big treasure chests often contain vital items like pieces of the map and extra lives, though it can also just contain money. You take on a boss at the end of every stage, and for the most part, these are really easy. You bounce on their heads a few times, and that wraps them up. Even the final boss is a cakewalk. He's a parody of Terminator 2 called the D-1000. Maybe the toughest boss is this guy. He's the only one who requires that you do something other than bounce on them. You have to wait until he knocks bricks down from the ceiling, and then knock the bricks into him to make him vulnerable. Once you defeat a boss, you get to shop. The shop sells a lot of very useful upgrades. The safe will let you retain the money that you've collected when you die on a stage. The cake will let you restore all of your health when you pause the game. A star will increase your maximum health by 1. The sphere is a continue orb, and buying one will let you continue when you get a game over. And of course, the extra lives are extra lives. The most important thing you can buy in the shop, though, is the map piece. There are 7 pieces of the treasure map. You start the game with 1. You can buy one from the shop, and then the other 5 are hidden on the stages. When you collect the 7th map piece, then you go to a special stage where you can get the treasure that's the goal of the game. It is possible to complete the game without getting all of the treasure maps, and in that event you just have a showdown with the final boss and nobody gets the big treasure. This does mean that if you want to do the extra stage and get the best ending, that you have to collect all 7 pieces of the map before you defeat the boss of your 5th stage. DuckTales 2 is a fairly well-remembered game in Japan, though more for the Game Boy version, which was extremely close to the Famicom one. It's strange, but even though a lot of DuckTales 2 is objectively better than the original, I still kinda like the original better. I think it's how the levels in DuckTales 2 are really focused on driving you towards secrets, while the secrets in the original DuckTales game were just cool little bonuses you could find. Also, DuckTales 2 doesn't have any music nearly as good as the Moon theme. But none of that means that DuckTales 2 is bad. It is one of the very best games on the Famicom. And it is a little bit more approachable than the original DuckTales, with the easier control for the pogoing, and they've thrown in a bit of puzzle solving for you if you like that. DuckTales 2 is an absolutely spectacular game. Just like the other one a teensy bit more.